Hey cheeky dogs, my name's Margie and I'm an Aussie currently living in America. But currently filming in the beautiful and amazing Brisbane. This location might look a little bit familiar to you guys, and if it does, let me know if you notice it in the comments down below. But for today's video, we are going to be talking to the amazing lady Mary from one half of the Gotta Be Done podcast.
You binge watch your average Netflix show and you just want to talk to someone about it. We need to talk to someone about Bluey.
The Gotta Be Done podcast is probably the largest Bluey content creators basically in the world, and Mary was so gracious enough to decide that she wanted to do an interview with me. So this is going to actually be a 3-part series. So I'm going to be dropping the first one today, another one in 2 days, and another one in 2 days from that. So make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, as well as the bell for notifications, so you know when those other videos come out. So without further ado, here's the podcast interview. So thank you, Mary, so much for coming to join me for my channel and chatting about Bluey season 3 and all things Bluey in general. I guess to start off with, though, an introduction, of course, for any of my subscribers who don't know about yourself and Kate and your amazing podcast. Kate, Mary.
Look, Margie, thank you so much for having me and all your lovely subscribers too. Great to meet everyone. And yeah, I guess, look, we, Kate and I on Gotta Be Done, the original Bluey podcast, I suppose, have been talking about Bluey since it feels like forever. but it actually, we started recording right at the end of 2018. So Bluey had launched back in October of that year in Australia, with not much fanfare, which seems incredible now. But we, Kate and I, are both mums of young kids. I was on mat leave with, just a tiny bub then, who's now nearly 4. But we were both talking about this crazy new show that had popped up.
Right, ladies?
You got it, Lucky's dad!
Yay! Yeah!
And finding nowhere to go for more information. Like, you're so used to just being able to, I'll be Googling that. Just let me at the rabbit hole. But we kind of realized a rabbit hole was needed and we could be the rabbit hole.
Yeah. No, I totally can see what you mean.
Yeah, and we are still rabbit holing to this day. So that is a convoluted way of describing Gotta Be Done, but briefly, every week we recap another episode and just obsessively enthuse about Bluey.
I absolutely love it. Like, obviously I'm the same. Like, I'm a mom who discovered Bluey once I had a baby, and I was being in America, my main thing was, I'm like, I want to show my kid, like, Australian shows, try and get my baby to have an Australian accent. And then Bluey is what I found on Disney. And I was like, this is Australian. This is awesome. And then, yeah, same thing. Absolute rabbit hole of all the amazing things Bluey.
Yeah. And I think that's probably how so many of your followers have found you, but yeah, definitely have found us as well on Gotta Be Done. But yeah, they're just looking for that extra information, and it's,
I think that's the thing,
there's
is
fun
like
places to find it.
Yeah, a lot of people, I feel like a lot of my friends in America, when they first started watching the show and they realized it was Australian, they would come to me and ask me, I will never forget, it was the Hammer Barn episode. Someone came and asked me if our shopping trolleys have the kids facing that way and not the other way around. No, that's just for the show. But that's what made me realize.
It's all a lie.
Yeah, it'd be so good if it was facing that way. But yeah, so many like little things, or so many like Australian things within the show. And that's like, I was listening to you guys and I absolutely loved your podcast. And yeah, it felt like getting to chat with other mums about it and talk about it. But yeah, for myself, I was like, I want to talk more about the Easter eggs. I wanted to do something different and add to the Bluey verse and the Bluey space out there. So that's why, I got into like the specific Easter egg side of things, or I guess explaining to a lot of my American friends all the Australian references within Bluey, because there are so many.
Keep them coming. Yes. Yeah. And
let's just get straight into it with our traditional Easter eggs first, our long dogs and our tennis balls. Now we have 3 tennis balls in this episode.
I think that's something fun that, look, sometimes Kate and I are so deep in the story and the parenting that we forget how much of it might not make sense to an international audience. So I think you are in that unique position, Margie, of being overseas and getting those questions about the Hammer Barn trolleys that you've got the foot in both worlds, and yeah, there is no world that Bluey is not in now, right, Shirley?
It's so true. Like it was one of my friend's mums who told me that she was on a Bluey Facebook group. And I was like, there are Bluey Facebook groups out there? Which of course then I went and joined. I was like, oh my God, there's like this massive community that I just was unaware of. And I think that's one of the things is when people are like, oh, it's just a show for like kids or for like little toddlers. No, thank you. It is not a show for little toddlers because there is like almost 50,000 people on Facebook in different groups about it. I'm like, they're obviously not toddlers. This show means a lot to us as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're doing great.
So obviously season 3, it just came out. It's like a big thing at the moment. Finally, everyone else overseas gets to see 25 of those episodes, not the full 37 that we get in Australia. Obviously, season 3, you and Kate got to be cameos for the episode Promises, which is so cool. Literally my dream. I was so happy that I saw you guys. I was so excited to talk about it in my breakdown. It just made me so happy to see that. So I guess my main question is, how did it happen? What was the process like?
Excuse me.
Huh?
Down here.
Oh, look, I wish I could tell you just like a treasure map of start here and go there, and then it just automatically happens. But no, it was more very erratic. Well, I think it actually all started for us with an episode of Bluey called Dance Mode, which you would probably be familiar with from season 2. For some reason, when Kate and I recapped that episode, we kind of fixated on the point that the voice of the yes no button was credited, and it was actually quite a well-known Australian actor doing his thing. Wow, like how did he get that role? And we would have done it for free. and as more and more sort of very small voice cameos popped up, we continued on this weekly kind of, wouldn't call it a tirade, but just gentle nudging of, we would also do that for free. If a character ever came up like this, we would do it. We did already know that the lovely, amazing team at Ludo were tuning into the podcast, because I guess when we first started, they didn't even have the Facebook groups to go to know what people were talking about, what people were saying about Bluey. So we were kind of their sneaky little destination to hear what we were saying, at least, and then as we grew fans, what they were saying. Hang on, is that meant to be a clue to us all? Like, how many of Bluey's traits can actually be traced directly back to her lineage on the male side of the family? We knew they were listening. It wasn't orchestrated, but gradually we started to hear that maybe there might be some more cameos coming up in season 3. And eventually we got Joe Brum on the program to talk to us mid-season 2 about what was coming up in season 3. And he said, oh, yes, and we've sorted you out, ladies. And yeah, we are still recovering from that moment. And it was on mic as well. So we're like, so you're saying it out loud? We can tell people? And yeah.
Confirmation, yeah.
Like I am clearly as excited now, 18 months later, as I was then, and it's all actually happened. So
That's
yes.
awesome. Did you guys fly to Brisbane to do it at Ludo Studios as well?
No, so it was the most fortuitous thing, because it was in the midst of pandemic land, as we still are, and Kate and I started the podcast both living in Melbourne, and now we do it, I'm in Melbourne and she's in Adelaide. At that time we were both in Melbourne, and the recording to go into a studio and record down the line to Brisbane was brought forward. And as we were going into the studio, they were announcing a full lockdown with no one allowed to go beyond 5K out from their house from the next day. So yeah, it was, after all the dramas of 2020 and beyond, that was one little thing that just went so right in the moment.
So I did have one of the subscribers, they did ask a question specifically about your characters. So it was Patty Pam wanted to ask you, did you get to make any decisions on the design of your characters in Promises?
We didn't, Margie and Paddy, and I think that in retrospect, that was probably a good thing. For anyone who's familiar with Gotta Be Done, you've probably seen we have little dogs that represent us in the logo, and they were designed by a good mate, and I love them to this day. We figured that it probably wouldn't be his design that would end up in the show because, they're all artists and creators and they make their own things. But yeah, we did not know what we would look like as dogs in the Blueyverse until the day the episode dropped, and we
Are you
we were
serious?
beside
That's
ourselves.
cool. You didn't even get like a sneak peek of it or anything. That's amazing.
No, it was it was just like, there you go, you're out in the world. Or at the library, which was very fitting for both of us. We're both library nerds from way back in the episode promises. But yeah, we did then find out more about what kind of dogs we were, because amazing art director Costa Casab checked in and said, just thought you might like to know, like, I think he and Alice had designed the two dogs, and I'm a librarian, and it is a beautiful white dog, and it is the dog from Belle and Sebastian, the 80s kids like cartoon.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And it's a Great Pyrenees. So that was the inspiration for that library dog, which I think Belle and Sebastian was the height of my 80s, like early morning TV viewing. And then Kate is a beautiful brown German short-haired pointer. It's a very trendy dog and very fitting for Kate as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's so incredible. I'm going to obviously add in that extra detail next time I do another breakdown, because that's so cool that was the reference they used for your dog. With the lines that you guys did, was it just the lines that we saw in the episode, or did you also voice record more lines that just maybe didn't end up in there?
Hello.
Me want books for big boys.
Next to the magazines. Oh, yes. Here you go, young man.
Read to me.
Oh.
So, no, we both recorded each other's parts. We got given the full script, so suddenly we were reading a whole episode of Bluey and just playing it out in our heads, I think.
Yeah.
I think, we're familiar enough with Bluey now. We could instantly picture what it was going to look like. But we both read for both parts, and then I don't know how that process worked, but they worked out who was who. We did also, on that fateful day, going into the recording studios, they said, there's also a role for a toddler. You guys don't have any toddlers, do you?
I guess
we're like, we are drowning in toddlers here.
Oh, I thought it was going to be one of your kids. I could have sworn.
Well, no, it's not your classic Bluey happy ending, although it's fine. As it turned out, the toddler was, as for anyone who's seen Promises, it's the toddler who won't give up the flying fox. And the toddler had to be quite adamant and loud.
It's my turn. Whee!
Look, our boys, who I think were 4 and 5 at the time, gave it a red hot go, but no, didn't end up being the cranky little toddler who wouldn't share the flying fox, and I'm fine with that,
Yeah. Oh, because I watched it and I was like, I bet you that's their kid. I'm like, but I won't ask just in case, because I don't want to like. Obviously, there's a big thing about the children.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, we don't know who any of the kids are, and no, I guess, if it was ours, we probably wouldn't be saying, but we can say it categorically isn't ours. So there you go.
Well, maybe in the future, you never know. I'm guessing, of course, that you guys would love to do more voice acting on Bluey in the future as cameos. If you did, what kind of situation would you love to do a cameo?
Imagine. Look, I think we have somewhat cheekily dropped hints to Joe Brum that the healers need to take their library books back now. Obviously, we'll be in the library whenever they do. I'm not sure we've sort of sat down and like whatever the character was, obviously we'd pen them some huge narrative that meant they had to be front and center. They'd move into the healer house, because that's our real dream, like living in the amazing healer house. There'd just be another bedroom pop up, and they'd be live in. What do the healers need? Like, lawn grub
if Chilli
attendants
has
or
baby,
something.
might need another nanny.
yeah,
Help
we
out,
could, yeah,
perhaps, or-
true. We could be the bogan au pairs or something like that.
That'd be brilliant. Okay, so I know that was also one of my subscribers' questions as well. Is Axolotl Galaxy asked, do you think that Chilli will have a third child?
Good question. I
Hmm.
feel like so season 3 kicked off apart from in Australia we saw the perfect episode first, which was the Father's Day episode, but then when the full season, half the season dropped, the first episode was Bedroom, which I think, was kind of pretty categorical in that Chilli was getting rid of the cot and sad about it. But I certainly don't take that as final, because families do things all the time that they're like, oh, why did we do that? Like, it
Yeah.
could be quite an entertaining plot twist that comes back, that they have to then get a cot off hard rubbish or something like that because they threw out the cot and here's the
Little gum tree.
baby. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like, I think let's talk about the Disney censorship sort of thing. So
Thank you all so much for watching. I was so excited to get to chat with Mary about everything that we're doing season 3 and all of our cameos. Like I said, this is a 3-part interview series, so part 2 and part 3 will be out shortly. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and bell for notifications so you know when it comes out. But until then, I have picked you cheeky dogs out a few other videos that maybe you might like to watch, and I'll see you all in another video. Mwah! Bye!